teasing an announcement by President Trump this afternoon.
President Trump's initial announcement.
And people are wondering what's going on.
The White House plans to celebrate America's 250th birthday.
We're going to have a UFC fight. Think of this on the grounds of the White House.
I got to come in and we got to figure this whole fucking thing out in one fucking night.
It's going to be all kinds of shit. I mean, they're essentially planning for that, different than they've ever planned for any other event.
Being like 13, seeing the UFC commercials, it seemed like this fringe thing, and now it's this massive mainstream thing.
At the White House card, Conor McGregor has said he's back in the pool.
The White House, Dana White said, you and John Jones.
The landscape will change so much by next 4th of July.
Get ready and stay ready, because damage will be done.
Can we expect to see you on the card?
You know, who knows what's going to happen.
They're talking about a White House fight card? I said, man, y'all better put John Jones on there.
Dana White is the best CEO in America.
One whole side of the backdrop will be the White House, and then the other side will be the Washington Monument. So badass.
Who do you predict will be in the main event?
Picture this. The year is 2025. The American flag is fluttering. Secret Service is lining the gates. And right in the heart of Washington, D.C., an octagon is being assembled on the White House lawn. It sounds insane, but is it really? Because if there's one man on earth who would actually pull this off, it's Donald J. Trump. This isn't just about shock value. Trump's connection with the UFC runs deep. Back in the early 2000s, when the UFC was still seen as this wild underground fight club, nobody wanted to host them. No one believed in them, except Trump. He opened his doors. He gave Dana White a platform. The UFC held events at the Trump Taj Mahal at a time when the sport was still being banned in multiple states. And Dana never forgot that loyalty. Over the years, he's backed Trump publicly.
Do you ever get pushback, though, from that relationship, especially during COVID?
Because I don't give a shit. That guy's been a friend of mine for 20 years. He's one of the most stand-up, solid dudes that I've ever met in my life. If he gives you his word, Don, explain this to you too. So when we were talking about early on, when we first got started in this business, and this brand was so bad that venues didn't even want us. You know, these arenas didn't want us at there. They're like, whoa, we don't want this stuff in our arena. So we had a hard time finding venues, and Trump literally called us. Now remember this, think about this, where the Trump brand was. Here, UFC brand was down here. Come to my place, you know, do the event here, we'll have you at the Trump Taj Mahal, blah, 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 blah. We get there, greatest setup for us, he did this whole thing for us, showed up to the first fight, and was there till the last fight. Both times we went there. Everything that happened to me in my career from there on out, he would pick up the phone and congratulate me or send something. Always been a solid guy with me.
Spoke at his rallies, invited him cage side at UFC events, and called him a true friend. Now picture this, Trump either running for president again or just being Trump says, screw it. Let's do a card at the White House.
Battlefields and historic sites are going to have special events in honor of America 250. And I even think we're going to have a UFC fight. Does anybody watch UFC, the great Dana White? We're going to have a UFC fight. We're going to have a UFC fight. Think of this on the grounds of the White House. We have a lot of land there. We're going to build a little, we're not. Dana's going to do it. Dana's great, one of a kind. Going to have a UFC fight, championship fight, full fight, like 20, 25,000 people. And we're going to do that as part of 250 also. We're going to have some incredible events.
It's bold. It's controversial. But let's be honest. It would break the internet. The cultural impact, massive. The UFC becomes a centerpiece of American politics, a global symbol of freedom, power, and entertainment. And MMA, it goes fully mainstream, backed by presidents, and watched by the entire planet. So here's the question. If Trump actually pulled this off, what would the fight card look like? Well, let's build it, let's roast it, let's season it, and throw it straight on the grill of greatness. Welcome to the UFC White House card. Imagine this, the White House lawn, the American flag, waving in the wind, the octagon, placed right in the heart of DC fireworks blazing, and inside that cage, the most stacked UFC card, In the history of the sport, Conor McGregor versus Justin Gaethje. The chaos duel we never got. The fireworks we still crave. Both men love violence, both men talk big, and both men will absolutely throw hands like it's the 4th of July. Justin's relentless pressure versus Conor's sniper-like left hand. Trash talk potential. Through the roof. Fan draw? No-brainer. Even Biden might leave the press room to watch this live. Odds? Conor opens as a slight underdog due to inactivity, but if he lands clean early, lights out. Bonus. Gaethje's last fights with Poirier and Fiziev show he's sharpening his style. Repercussion? The BMF belt could be added for extra flavor. The GOAT versus the silent killer, Jones versus Aspinall. This is the kind of chess match you need when the stakes are presidential. Jones' fight IQ and dirty boxing versus Aspinall's crisp hands and terrifying speed. Why now? Jones is coming off retirement. Aspinall is rising fast. And let's be honest, Aspinall finishes people like a British Terminator. If Jones wins, his legacy gets an insane cherry on top. If Aspinall wins, he becomes the new face of heavyweight MMA. Fan interest? Sky high, especially in Europe. The P4P kings collide. Islam with that Dagestani dominance. Ilya with that ruthless Spanish power. This isn't just a fight. It's empire versus empire. Topuria's boxing is scary. The knockout of Oliveira proved that. Islam's all-around game? Nearly flawless. Clash of styles, a pressure boxer versus a grappling tactician. Marketing angle? Europe versus the mountains. Chess match versus explosion. This could sell out any stadium in the world or, the White House lawn. Prediction? 5-round war. May the better mind win. Okay, this one's pure madness. Chimaev versus Strickland. Two of the most unpredictable, wild, and dead serious fighters in the entire UFC. Chimaev brings chaos, a wrestling, speed, power, and that I'm coming for everyone mindset. Strickland? The most unfiltered mouth in the sport, but he backs it up. And with volume striking, toughness, and cardio that doesn't quit, this would be the ultimate test for both. Chimaev wants gold. This is the final gate. Strickland wants redemption. This is his shot. And let's be honest, the press conference alone would be unforgettable. The most avoided man at welterweight versus the most overlooked. Shavkat Rakhmonov, undefeated, finishes everyone and doesn't say much. But when the cage closes, he talks with violence. Bilal Muhammad on a long win streak, smart, technical, and finally about to get his shot. This fight could easily crown the next welterweight champ. Stylistically, Shavkat is cold, efficient, and deadly in the clinch. Bilal is high volume, relentless pressure, and constantly adapting. Prediction? A 5-rounder, where either man could break through. This fight could create a new king at 170. Now this is unexpected. Merab moving down to fight Volk at featherweight? Sounds crazy, but the man's cardio is inhuman. And his style? It could actually give Volk problems. Volkanovski, former champ, elite IQ, explosive feints, but he's coming off tough losses. Merab on a crazy run, taking out legends and never slowing down. If this fight happens, it's 5 rounds of high-level scramble, striking chess, and pure grit. Also, it's one of those fights where either man winning feels huge. It would shake up both divisions. So, why would this card break the internet? Because it's never been done. The White House, a literal world stage, hosting an event that millions of people care about. Politics, sports, history, all crossing paths in one single night. Dana White's bond with Donald Trump? It's real. Trump was the first to host UFC events back when no one else would. He's been cage-side. He's been thanked at weigh-ins. And Dana? He's always repaid that loyalty. Now, imagine the message this sends. UFC isn't just a sport anymore. It's the event, an American export, a global empire, and maybe now, a piece of history.